Hello, everyone. Thank you for taking your seats. So, hello, everyone. My name is Jadd Hallaj. I'm an architect and cartographer, and it's my honor to represent Bolwerk and our Living Summer School program as proud LINA members in welcoming some of the 24-25 LINA fellows. We're always really excited to meet and engage with and learn from emerging spatial practitioners. And more specifically, after this year that we've had, which has been a very complicated year, Leopold has talked about it in some detail previously. I think that it is now indisputable that we need to be on the lookout for new forms of caring. Caring for each other, caring for the environment, caring for future generations, and caring for peace. Some of our fellows have already inspired us in this regard through their applications, and we would like to invite them to introduce themselves through this lens of care. So without further ado, I would like to give a warm welcome to these 9 fellows, starting with Paula Veidenbauma from Baltic Lines. Paula, are you here? Hi, Paula. Béatrice Lartigue from Lab212 Collective, presenting the project Ombre Blanche. Béatrice, are you here? Hi, Béatrice. Welcome. Sebastian Reinecke, Harvest, there you are. Harvest SALON, Stories of Alpine Commons. Maria Noshenko, Pavilion of Culture, presenting the project Hide and Seek. Welcome. Maritina Asso, Planting Community and Co., Echoes of the Earth. Hello. You're going to be presenting a video, right? Yes. So this is Maria. Hello. Huh? Okay. Hello. Peter Behrbohm from SONDER, if you can stand up and there you go. Hi, Peter. But you're yeah. Anton. Okay. Thank you. But you'll be presenting a video, right? So if you could actually sit right there while we present the video. Thank you. Peter Amori, presenting the project The Lake in Transition. Hello, Peter. And Vang-Anh, presenting the project Community Maintenance Club. Welcome. So I'm going to join them. The way we thought of doing this is having a small conversation together, a bit of an informal conversation. And for some of you, you have also decided to share some videos instead of actually participating in the round table. So what I would propose is to start with the videos. I'm not quite sure how the videos, okay. So we're going to start off with the first video, which is going to be presented by Olímpia Solà Inaraja for the project Flaneuring around the 21st century city.
Hello everyone, I'm Olímpia Solà Inaraja, an architect from Barcelona. The project Flaneuring around the 21st century city has been roaming through my mind for the past 2 years, so I'm very happy I can finally present it before you all. It aims to study how we can represent current cities through literature and media, and if the popularization of green pedestrian streets in many European city centers is turning us into 21st century planners. It is inspired by Baudelaire's depiction of Haussmannian Paris and its use of the city as a poeticized object. Just like the building of boulevards and urban-scale construction works of the 19th century Paris changed European city life forever, we are now, I feel, once again experiencing a drastic change in European city centers. After hundreds of years prioritizing vehicle mobility, pedestrians are now in the spotlight. with projects such as the High Line in New York, the Bolwerk in Paris, or the recently inaugurated Carré in Barcelona. The use and understanding of the street is changing. Just like romantics who could not help but long for a quieter city life while taking secret joy in contemplating passionately the multitude, alone but accompanied, the flaneur observes from the inside but at a certain distance the rapidly changing urban customs. How do these urban projects I've mentioned and others springing through Europe change a city's mobility? Can literature capture this urban essence, and can it be done through other artistic practices? How can urbanism be experienced or rather felt? What does a 21st century flaneur or flaneuse look like, and can we all be one? I strive to answer all those questions. Thank you very much.
Hello, we're SONDER from Berlin, Behrbohm and me, Anton Steenbock. Yeah, we're super happy to be here with you in Sarajevo, both virtually but also physical in the room. And yeah, while you are seeing excerpts of our works on the big screen, we will outline a bit our approach and our possible ideas for LINA.
Yeah, SONDER is an American undertaking operating on the intersection of art and architecture. We try to avoid the framing of art and consider reality, both venue and medium of our works. We therefore intervene in public spaces, routines and discourses with obstacles and counter-narratives, aiming to expose questionable developments that are hiding within normality.
Yeah, in a way, our projects could be described as fused dichotomies, acting at the border of socially defined oppositions like chaos and order, security and danger, past and future, or east and west, which we try to unify or remix in large-scale installations and interventions in public space.
You just saw our Sarajevo cleaning company in the background. We're not only organizing urban discs and order, but currently focusing on new system models, ways of resource distribution, formation of networks and flows of data. Our research draws on forgotten ideas that were influential around the turn of the century. The cosmists, the technocrats, and a short-lived science called technology envisioned fair and sustainable societies based on energy efficiency, a circular approach to resources, the abolition of death, cities in the sky, and using natural structures as blueprints for social systems. We aim to blend these historical concepts with contemporary technologies to create new collective futures.
So yeah, as you can see, we like to engage in quite complex contexts and would be more than happy to collaborate with LINA members who also have an interest in this kinds of speculative approaches and critical work building. Thank you for listening, and see you in the room.
Hello everyone, my name is Mikāne and I'm presenting on behalf of Planning Solidarity. Planning Solidarity is an international collective focusing on food and land solidarity projects through knowledge sharing, storytelling, documentation and archiving, as well as hands-on research. For the LINA Fellowship, we are 4 researchers and designers, Angela, myself, Daniel and Luma, and we're coming together to co-create and explore various methodologies through our Ecos of the Earth proposal. Our proposal aims to connect food, urban, and social systems in Portugal and Switzerland, and we wish to experiment with sounds and materials in our neighborhoods and beyond. So I will say a little bit more about all of us. So as I said, my name is Mikāne, and I am one of the co-founders of Planning Solidarity. I'm Afro-Canadian, and I'm a landscape architect and housing specialist. My interest focuses on everything to do with sounds, landscapes, and reconciliation with the self, with the earth, and with our communities. Initially, the goal of the association was to create and support existing initiatives in Switzerland and beyond, and to use our privilege and network to hold space, support, and stand in solidarity with those working behind the scenes, such as gastronomy workers, land workers, and everything in between. Angela is one of the co-founders of Planning Solidarity, and she has a background in economics and spatial development. She's a networker between Switzerland and Portugal, and Angela's focus at this moment is to focus on the concept of cooperativa integral in Portugal and how this concept can become more economically accessible while focusing on the local food system cooperatives. She believes in the importance of sensibilizing for the food system and biodiversity since it connects with both urban and rural. Angela is based in Switzerland. Daniel Boris is from the Portuguese branch of Planning Solidarity, and he's interested in multiple themes from sustainable food systems to urbanism and social studies. At the moment, he's currently completing his PhD thesis about the correlation between sustainable food transition and spatial planning. He analyzes the territorial perspectives in both food policies and practices. He desires for an intersection between his theoretical research and future collaboration in both design and art with other LINA fellows. Luma is a Brazilian designer currently based in Basel and is representing us on the ground in Sarajevo currently. She's exploring the field of material research. Luma's research investigates the potential use and byproducts of the pine nut tree, in which plays an important role in Portugal's food system and environmental landscape. Through her work, Luma explores the question, how can I, as a designer, investigate a specific territory through contextual and experimental design processes in order to foster a deeper understanding of local resources. She hopes to find an opportunity to integrate her thesis research with LINA Fellowship. That's a little bit about us, and we thank you for the opportunity for letting us be part of this fellowship. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. So those were the 3 videos by Olímpia, Solà, and Inaraja, who unfortunately could not be here with us in the room. And then we had the video of SONDER. So I believe that there is a representative SONDER. Maybe you can stand up and wave again so that we see your face. And finally, Planting Solidarity and Co. Also, if you could stand up, please. Thank you. So we're going to try to have now an informal conversation, and our time is a bit limited, so it would be great if we could keep short, have some short answers. But the idea would be for you to introduce yourself through this lens of care, the theme of this panel session. We're going to start off with Paula. Paula, your project frames the exploration of Rail Baltica, a railway mega project planned to connect Warsaw to Helsinki, as an artistic practice that engages with the complex dynamics of urban transformation. So my question for you is, how does opening this exploration and this research process to a network of participants facilitate what you referred to in your application as a caring ecology? And more importantly, to start the conversation, what is a caring ecology?
Hello, good morning. I'm Paula, and I am here as one of the curators of Baltic Lines project, together with my colleague Diāna, who is joining in the audience. Yeah, thank you for the question. As mentioned, we are looking at the Rail Baltic, this railway mega project implementation process, as a lens, and as a railway itself as the symbolic medium that connects to the questions of region identity and connects the office corridors together with the building sites. No, okay. That's so sad. Okay, thank you. So the first time I encountered the term caring ecologies was in a conversation with Erika Henriksson, who is a Swedish architect, and her practice is this relational architecture practice grounding in building relationships with people and places and environments. And she's also a researcher, and she uses the term in her doctoral thesis as simply creating relationships between places, environments, and people that are part of this project process. But in our project, as we look at this railway project as a semiotic device, let's say, we are rather looking through and with the railway, and you suddenly enter this realm of artistic research, which is a very gray area, I think, because it is located in this duality. From one side, it validates artistic practice in academia, but from the other side, it connects to the open-endedness of the research in itself. So you could connect it with what Donna Haraway says about situated knowledges. You research while doing, and you tie on these knots, you gather some traces. And also in infrastructure studies texts, you can think about that you can't really research a thing, but you always research this infrastructure. So at one point in our curatorial discussions, we came to an agreement that we have to look for language that would maybe suit better for our approach. And we arrived at the term spin-offing, which we understand as we are not looking at to build or not build a railway, but we rather look at it as leading somewhere further away, as railway as a lens is leading away from the actual object of a railway. So in our group, which gathers 11 artists, researchers, we are spinning off in different ways. One of the projects is connected with the waiting room chairs, while the other with ghosts of sea water mythologies. My personal spin-off is connected with project as a practice in itself. And regarding the care aspect of it, it is also a dual body, a being, because from one, then it opens these dialogues with places, environments, things, people, and there is a curatorial responsibility to include them at a table, at a meeting point in the exhibition, but also quite pragmatically caring for these artists, researchers to have the capacity to actually research this incredibly abstract motive and have resources to do it, which in my case and Diāna's case connects to writing projects. And maybe a remark on care. I think care often is used as adjective, but it's never innocent. And maybe it sounds gentle, but it's not cute and it's not sweet. And last week, Diāna listened to a talk by Maria Lind, who is a curator in Kiruna, and she gave a speech in Helsinki at Public Curatorial Agency. And she said, she's fabulous, she's so smart. So I will try to repeat. She was like, care, we are simplifying things, and what does it even mean? It sounds so vague when you don't contextualize it. And she said, let's talk about tough love in a way that at least that has the connotation of something stronger, a field of tension. So this is it for me for now.
Thank you, Paula. Thank you very much, Paula. The next question is for Beatrice, presenting the project Ombre Blanche. So your collective creates installations which explore our perceptions of sound and space. In your project, you're giving materiality to wireless networks that we can't actually see, but however, have a strong part in shaping our urban environment. So my question for you is, what role does your work play in the creation of a more caring, sustainable relationship with technology? And Paula just presented an artistic research on visible infrastructure. How is that different than studying invisible infrastructure?
Hi. So to give a bit of context, the project is called Ombre Blanche, and it's an artistic installation. It explored the way to materialize how wireless networks in the public space. So it's about visible and invisible elements. We worked in collaboration with a scientific laboratory called XM, specialized in tracking electro-radio frequency waves in space made by our phones, for example, mobile antenna, etc. And the idea was to embody it in real time in a climatic phenomenon, to a cloud, I would say. So we use water as a metaphor of networks, and also as a metaphor to traduce the data around us. These data are tracked in real time in the display institute through an installation, but also online through an application to let the visitors see the data we are tracking and the values we use to control the cloud in density and in presence. So regarding the question of the care, and for me the care, it's in between something around social, environmental, but also political. And we worked around the theme of the pervasive network. The pervasive network is wireless communication, and some people talk about it like an ambient network, like the ambient air in which we are immersed. It means that it can't be stopped in a way. It's around us, and in the scale of the city, we can think about it like a ghost haunting the city, I would say, something not visible, and we want it to reveal and to work on. So the parallel between the digital ecosystem and the water was interesting for us because it talks about the ecosystem itself, the infrastructure, but also the cost, environmental cost, but budget cost, I would say also, and the social and political issue at stake. And it also questioned the idea of the common good. The water should be a common good, but also linked with the public spaces. So we wanted to integrate the visitors into the work through their body and their interaction in space, so they can go inside the cloud and interact with it. And the idea behind it was to propose different views and perspectives around this topic. So to do it, we explore, investigate different kind of technologies to understand it, but also to be able to share it with the visitors. For us, it's very important to show the behind the scene and in a way to try to empower visitors to the different issues at stake related to technologies and how technology impacts the way we feel space and architecture. Related to the invisible question, so the radio frequency waves are invisible, and the idea was to provide something to reveal them. And why we did this? In fact, you can question what you can see, right? So not visible doesn't mean always not existing or something which is absent. And we also are really interested in something, objects that are in our relation, with the immaterial related to the symbolic values around it. We had the desire to disrupt the way we look at things by the juxtaposition of something which is real, the visible, with something which is digital, so the invisible. And we are interested to create this kind of shift to the project we work on as a door to enter inside the topic we want to explore. And the objective was to reveal what lies behind and to open up kind of dialogue with the visitors. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. My next question is for Sebastian. So from Harvest Saloon and the project, presenting the project Stories of Alpine Commons. So your research, your project researches and documents a centuries-old system of communal work, Taguanen, I'm really not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, a fascinating example of social and environmental resilience. How do you see communal practices like Taguanen contributing to more sustainable and caring relationships with landscape? And Beatrice talked about contemporary digital infrastructure. What can we learn from this historic model to prepare us for the future?
Hi, my name is Sebastian. I'm from Harvest Salon, and I'm here with Nico and Livni. And I think at first I maybe need to explain a little bit what Taguan are. And takvan are basically a unit, or to understand better, is a currency that is non-monetary. And it was there to sort of regulate this farming system in a community, in a town in Switzerland. And this community, or this farming practice, was basically based on 3 different legs. The first being farming. They needed to farm to survive, to eat. And the second leg was landscape care. And so this town or this community lived in the midst of a very steep valley. And every winter, lots of stones and rubble would come down that then in the spring they would have to clear from the pastures so that they could actually farm. And this was sort of the second leg, and to be able to do this, they had to do this in a big community, because there was so much that came down that it was impossible to do this on your own. And these common pastures then had to be cleared, and this clearing and this communal work of caring for the pastures was also what affected it affected the basis of this community, to be a very resilient community. And then in the early 1920s, there was a big change in an economic system where the hydropower industry started to establish itself in the region, and this effectuated that sort of the farming leg kind of started to disappear. This town, Gubahámori, only has 3 farmers left, and it's basically, even though that this kind of fell away, it's very much still embedded within this community, this communal practice. And I think what's interesting about it is that even though this sort of fell away, for us it's interesting to understand that even though it's still not the main part of it anymore, they are still in a constant negotiation with landscape and landscape care. And I think that's what's interesting for us. And the second question, could you remind me real quick?
How might this teach us something about the future?
In towards digital. I mean, we're not really an expert on the digital infrastructures, but maybe to understand takvan as a system, also every few years, every 80, 90, or 100 years, the system had to be reformed. And it had to be reformed because of the conditions that they lived in, and they just changed. And I think that's maybe what's also interesting with the digital realm, because we have things like open source websites, or we also have a lot of access to information and so on. Maybe it's also about reforming the data and having access to data. And I think that's what was also very interesting for us in our project, because the reformation of takvan kind of led to opening the system towards the outside, which gave us the possibility as like people from the city to be able to sort of learn and integrate almost into a system that wasn't ours. And I think that's what's also interesting for us, to have this almost bridge between urban and rural spaces. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Sebastian. My next question is for Maria. I can also see that we're running a bit out of time, so we'll try to expedite the conversation. But in Hide and Seek, you explore the complex role of fortification architecture, which can both give us a sense of safety and provoke anxiety within urban context. And how do you think the presence of these defense structures has transformed the urban landscapes of Ukrainian cities and the way inhabitants relate to their land?
thanks for the questions. And so hide and seek is really multidisciplinary research on the fortifications as unseen sub-level of the city, and it will turn out into the public publication, into a magazine, printed publication. And so how did it change the urban landscape? Actually, a lot, because fortifications definitely changes every time, all the time. And I'm based in Kyiv, so in Kyiv, you starting to notice it like everyday routine, your interactions with the cement blocks, checkpoints, anti-tanks, hedgehogs, that are both built intuitive by people, just like putting this handmade sand sacks, for example, or built by government, which is a really interesting topics for us because we perceive fortifications as a reinforcement of agreed norm, for example, or an agreed social order. So it's really interesting how it changes your, not only how you perceive the really physical objects in your city, but also how you perceive these changed social interactions with them. For example, we speak of fortifications both like figurative and literal, and such things as two walls rules, or for example, how do you perceive your bathroom in a different way, because it can literally become a shelter in some minute. So it's really define a lot of new, it gives a lot of new definitions to a really irregular and everyday object. And also, speaking of very practical example, for example, is Zmijevi Valley, which is a huge medieval constructions placed in some Ukrainian fields. And it was built a really long time ago in 10th century, but today it still can be used in the battlefields. And it's really interesting how this archaic and modern constructions are reused and repurposed. And also the Zmijevi Valley, they are also not only fortification and a means of battlefield, but they are also the main preservers of that time nature samples, because they are the only like examples of this natural land that is not being touched by agriculture, for example. So it's really interesting for us to do this both archaic and modern constructions that are built all the time, and also to speak of curfews or air alerts also as a form of fortifications. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Maria. I see that we gained 5 minutes. That's nice. Thank you. My next question is for Peter. So you're representing szabadonbalaton and gubahámori in the project The Lake in Transition. So your initiative focuses on the ecological needs and risks of this Lake Balaton, especially in light of increasing tourism and infrastructural development. Previous fellows have already discussed researching and revealing and raising awareness about changing landscapes. Maybe what you could shed a light on is how your concrete strategies, what strategies have you used and have you found the most effective in raising public awareness and in engaging with communities and local communities in this ecological dialogue around the lake?
Okay, thank you for the question. This group is consists of two groups that joined forces some years ago, szabadonbalaton and gubahámori. They're sitting over there. We joined forces because we wanted to give future escapes of communities on the periphery, and we are basically doing two kind of projects, and one is working on post-industrial cities, urban peripheries, and the other one is this ecological periphery, which is located in Lake Balaton, which is one of the biggest lakes, shallow lakes in CEE region. And in the community about this Balaton, we think about the whole ecosystem that works there. So it's not just the fishermen and the local farmers, but the algae in the water, the fishes and the birds around the lake as well. Because the biodiversity is decaying around that area in the waterfront zone. So as an architect, because gubahámori is an architect group, the szabadonbalaton is a cultural research platform. And we as an architect had to think about our role in these kind of works, because we are trained as classical designers, so we design houses, but this is not a house here, so we had to come up with an idea or just rethink our role in it. And we think about this, that we design space, use of spaces, landscape use, and this is where we could join the other groups of anthropologists, ecologists, waterfront experts, and visual artists as well. So we realized that we need to give positive future scapes for those who have fears about the future, about this global change that you don't know the outputs of yet. So this is why we created the critical and speculative design projects some years ago, and one of this is, I don't know, it's not on the screen. Yeah, it's an architectural project about the change of the land use. And this is how we could meet the other guys, szabadonbalaton, because they're also doing kind of speculative design or speculative communication strategies on science communication. All of the works are based on deep research and projects about the lake ecosystem. And the methodology here is, I think it's really simple. We want to talk to people and we want them to understand what we want to say. So it's not an academic language. You have to be really, really simple about the language you use, about the words you use, and about the visual representation that you use. And working with visual artists, anthropologists, they can come up with a really diverse scale of methods here. So slow walks, performative walks in the landscape itself, bringing animals back into the water because they belong there as well. It's not just for humans, or other like ecological weekend on the shore, on the beach, where people can meet all these questions. And it's really important that we specifically target each group that we want to talk to. Because this ecosystem, this community of the lake consists of like several stakeholders. Everyone is interested in their future part of the ecosystem, so we need to talk to them directly. So these are these little small performances that we use. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Peter. And to wrap up the conversation, we're going to hear from Vang-Anh. Sorry if I don't really know how to pronounce it. You're presenting Community Maintenance Club. And it started off with a shared vision for community-led upkeep, retrofitting, and future use stewardship among residents, local craftspeople, and architects. And you propose a shift from reactive to proactive maintenance model. Can you elaborate a bit more on this approach, and what does it look like in practice, and how might this relate to other communal maintenance practices presented previously by SONDER and by Sebastian? So the film that we saw on Sebastian's communal.
Okay, I have a minute. Oh, hi, I'm Vang-Anh, or Anya. Okay, that's great. Thank you. I'm here with two of my colleagues. We're a three-man team with Rosie and Spike. We studied together. So Community Maintenance Club started with a shared vision by local craftsmen, residents, and architects working collectively on community-led upkeep, retrofitting. And our site is based on the kind of the UK's first council housing called Boundary Estate. And so for the past year, we are working with local community to explore different scale of repair, starting from site visits, interviews, and surveys to develop live tests on the site, from the idea of the door of the local community laundrette to sash window repair with a joiner. So a bit on the background. So the Boundary Estate for the past 20 years have been passed without cyclical upkeep or major interventions. As a result, the estate is currently in a very poor condition. From the building fabric, the condition deteriorates with broken windows and glasses, damp mold issues within the flat, and the lack of council intervention. And within the community, you have these local residents who have very, very amazing craftsmanship craftsmanship skills. There's a joiner that's living on a estate that once told us that he can start repairing the deteriorating sash windows. He can do one window every 2 days, and over 2 years, he would have repaired all the windows within the estate. And so the kind of lack of connection between the residents to council was kind of very clear to us that we needed to facilitate these conversations and create this more horizontal communication. And so this whole thing was very much a process, and we were experimenting with ideas through testing and accepting trial and error that kind of happens, and kind of liaisoning with local residents and developing a deeper connection with them and knowing how the kind of local laws kind of infect their domestic conditions. And so within maintenance, our definition is the idea of tolerance. The idea of tolerance with time, within legislation, and tolerance within the knowledge production of what repair is from the local level to the idea of the council level, which is entirely different. And so our goal is to develop an alternative, more inclusive framework of maintenance and repair that can be replicated in other council housing estate projects within the UK. And this self-sustaining model that bridges between a top-down management and bottom-up initiative, from the idea of the infrastructure to a sash window repair. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to all of you sitting here and sitting with us also in the audience. This was really a fruitful conversation. I know the challenge was very difficult because it was in a very condensed time frame, but we're together for another day and a half. So I would really, you've given us a lot of information, a lot of ideas, and I would really recommend that for now, in the remaining informal moments that we have together at lunch and at dinner, let's talk about it further between fellows and with the members, and I'm very much looking forward to having those conversations with you later in the day. Thank you very much.